Welcome back, everyone. We have another season of The Forge. This is technically going to be season 1, episode 1. And you're probably wondering what I've been up to. Well, you know what we're going to do this episode? We're going to do Blaster Parade, part 2. Let's see what I've been up to. Shall we?
Welcome to The Forge. I'm Al the Geek. I love making big, crazy blasters. Here on The Forge, we're going to show you some tips, some tricks, and how to mod and paint your blasters. From anything from making giant master keys to making that big, long, cool sniper that you're always looking for. Whether it be cosplay or whether it be foam flinging, here at The Forge, we're going to show you how to do that.
Here on The Forge, obviously, some days I like to show you how I do it and what I do it. But let's face it, other times, you just want to see what I make. So that's what we're doing today. It's going to be a parade of some of the latest blasters I've done, or different versions of one you've seen before. Let's do this. Of course, in case you didn't know, who does not like an post-apocalyptic shotgun type of deal? So again, what we have here, Rival Saturn, Spitfire pistol grip. Of course, they got to put spikes, but this time I did a little different. This blue, name it what you want. I can't remember. I think it was like Maui blue, but they don't always have to be gray and white. They could be fun colors as well and still be post-apocalyptic. Of course, this one, although it's getting harder to find, still love this thing. And of course I did it yellow. Can't imagine why. But what do we have here? Adventure Force Conquest Pro. I know some people don't like the rear loaders, but you know what? This is still a very cool, very fun, and very compact, and still hits hard blasters. So yeah, Conquest Pro. But of course, a goodie and an oldie. Sometimes you don't have to just paint it like I do. Sometimes it's getting the appropriate kit. So what do we have here? Adventure Force Spectrum. And what I actually put on it was a Typhoon kit that I got over a Foam-demic. This thing is a great kit, which even if you can't paint that well, and not everyone paints that well, trust me. And that's okay that you don't. But you can get kits like this in specific colors and add it to your blaster, and suddenly it looks so much better than when you first got it. A little red dot sight. I think I'll be making more of these soon. Now, this one, I like these. This is the Dart Zone Tomcat. And I finally figured out the color scheme I like doing on these. This thing, again, you have a double stack drum. This thing's always fun. Always hits around 150 FPS straight out of the box. Never mind that it looks cool. Tomcat. But maybe you don't like springers, right? Maybe you're not strong enough or hate the awkwardness of pumping it, so want to go to battery powered blasters. So in this case, again, we're going to go back to Dart Zone, and this is the Omnia. It comes red, but then again, it isn't kind of the red that I do. This is the red I do. Omnia Pro. Second generation, by the way. Red dot sight. You can keep the initial, like the original sights. They come pretty good, but I thought it looked cooler with the red dot sight. Omnia Pro. I think I got a blue one kicking around here somewhere, but let's do just the red one. Fun little blaster, by the way. But then again, maybe you want something bigger, longer, crazier. I do those, right? Don't I? Well, it's been a while since I did a couple of these, so I did. So what do we got? The Nerf Raptor Strike. This thing, I always did love the lines on it. Faux barrel on it. Doesn't have a spring upgrade in it, but still. It's just a Raptor Strike. This one I saw to a lot of Mandalorians. This one you can tell I kind of customized it to myself. Recognize the logo. Big old 3D printed scope. And this one I think I do in about 8 different colors. This one's a lot of fun too. If you go to a lot of conventions, odds are you'll find a Mandalorian with one of these, and they probably got it from me. Actually, yeah, they got it from me. Tried and true, but we changed it up a little bit. What do we have here? Dart Zone Dictator. However, as you can tell, that's not the original stock, and that's not the original muzzle on it. Obviously, the scope is different too. So what I did was actually swapped it off of a Mark 1.2 that I did. That's the back end off of Mark 1.2. And that's also the front muzzle of it. The idea being it make it a little more compact, a little bit of CQB, and then change the sight to make it appropriate. And actually, you know what? It really does change what it looks like, and it's pretty damn cool. So, question is, what did I do with the parts of this, and what about the one I swapped the parts out of? Well, let's see what I did with that one. Darts on Mark 1.2 with the parts from the Dictator, and then the parts from this one went to the Dictator. So again, just to change up the look of it, make it look really big, long, and cool. So obviously, scope off the Dictator, the front scope off the Dictator, and you know what? Even the buttstock off the Dictator. So suddenly, it is a much bigger and crazier blaster. Just kind of changes the look of it. So a lot of times when you're doing this, you don't always have to make something creative from scratch or a 3D printer, especially if you can't. Sometimes what it is taking your existing stock and swapping the pieces around and trying them on different ones to see where it looks better. Or not necessarily better, just changes it up some. And it's amazing what sometimes you can come up with without having to actually go out and make, buy, or do something else crazy. But yeah, like this one. Oh, and of course, dart guide is removed so it doesn't jam. And I know it's a half dart, but it just looks cooler with the big full dart magazine in it. Now, this one, if you're into Rival and well, you need a hopper, the Nerf Percy's with the added darts front grip right here and the added darts hopper. These things are just so much fun. They are great. Yeah. Painted it up. And this one's great too because this one, it's not like you need a lot of modding experience. This, you can get the kit off of Out of Darts. It's an easy add and drop in kit. This one as well, Allen key, cinch it on. It improves the look, performance, and use of this blaster. And it really doesn't take much at all, which is kind of nice. And I don't know, this thing just looks really cool in orange, as you can tell. So then, a Mark IV. So a Dart Zone Mark IV. Out of the box with the red is cool and the sights are cool, but I thought, you know what could I do with this? So I changed it up a little bit. You tell me how you feel about it. That is the Dart Zone Mark IV. Added this faux scope on the top of it. No, it's not a real ACOG. It'd be a lot of money. But then also changed out the front priming grip to this one. Make it a little sleeker, crazier. Currently, I'm making one that's going to be orange. And the next one, it might be a white one or a blue one. Haven't decided yet, but how fun are these? And then, of course, if we can do a blaster parade, right? You got to have a token minigun. This one is the X-Shot Crusher. It's not the Rage Fire. It's still... Oops. Because I added this big PVC heavy front end for looks, it doesn't spin as well. But you can tell, still a great looking blaster. Again, the X-Shot Crusher. I love making these too. These are so much fun. Toy miniguns, man. Like, they're so cool. They're so fun. And then lastly, but definitely not least, this one, the modified Strife with a lot of extra attachments to it. Semi-auto, 150 FPS. We have a takedown strap to the top, and a Mr. Scree on top. I know sometimes integrity of this and blah blah blah, whatever. It looks really, really cool, and this thing's a lot of fun to use and play with. Sometimes you got to take what you have and see what goes together. It's amazing the creations you can come up with if you just dig into your arsenal. If you start mixing and matching, if you see what attaches and just really have like a creative eye to it where you kind of pull it apart and put it back together again, what you can come up with without having to like be a expert fabricator or have a 3D printer or spend a lot of money on a lot of kits. Sometimes it just depends what you already have and figuring out what goes together. It's worked for me actually. And I know sometimes you put things together and you look at it and go, what is this? This is a disaster. Why'd I do this? That's okay. Like I've always said, it's trial and error. It's not being afraid to fail. It's trying it out, because sometimes that's the best way we learn. How you learn you never touch a hot stove? Burn your finger on a hot stove. You'll never touch a hot stove again. That's the best part about learning. Sometimes it's the journey. Sometimes it's the failing. Because then when you succeed, then it really is. It's even when you succeed, it's great. But after failing a couple of times and then finally succeeding, it makes it so much better. Mind you, it'd be easier if you didn't fail, but hey, you gotta learn somehow. Anyways, these are some of the creations I got kicking around in the shop. Looking forward to another great season of The Forge. We're going to get into, obviously, a lot more crazy things I make. And then every once in a while, instead of me sitting here lecturing and teaching you, we'll just sprinkle it with fun stuff like this. Because let's face it, as much as I like to make it, you probably also like to see it. Thanks again for tuning into The Forge. Don't forget to subscribe to the World Foam Alliance YouTube channel and also worldfoamalliance.org, the website, where when we know where you are, it's easier for us to connect all of you together and just make this so much bigger and do all the wonderful things that we do with the hobby. Tune in next time for The Forge. We're going to be doing more crazy and fun things.